Welcome back, everyone. Now it's time for a question and answer session where we answer some of our viewers' questions. And so, Brother Shabir, let's get on with the first question. So Muslims believe that Jesus did not die on the cross, but rather he was switched with someone else on the cross. Now, some of the arguments that Christians pose is that if that is the case, will Jesus' disciples not deceived?
The question here comes from the direction of a person who's been reading the Gospels, familiar with the Acts of the Apostles in the Bible, and familiar with the development of Christian history, and is thinking, well, the cross became central to the Christian preaching, starting with the disciples of Jesus. So how did that happen if Jesus was not on the cross? And if somebody else was put on the cross, as Muslims believe, then not only were outsiders deceived, but even the disciples of Jesus were deceived, and then the whole religion that they started with their preaching as a result of what they saw would obviously be something contrary to Islam. So how could that be in the plan of God, to deceive the disciples like this? Now, answering from the Muslim point of view, we should say that when classical Muslim scholars developed this idea that somebody else was put on the cross instead of Jesus, they worked with a story that is attributed to Ibn Abbas, one of the early Muslim commentators on the Quran, a companion of the Prophet, peace be upon him. Ibn Abbas is reported to have said that when Jesus knew that his enemies were coming to arrest him, he asked his disciples for a volunteer who would take his place on the cross, and the youngest of them volunteered for that position. And in the meantime, Jesus was taken up into heaven through a hole in the roof, perhaps, where he was staying. And when his enemies came in to arrest him, Judas identified the person who now was made to look like him, this volunteer. And that volunteer was then taken and put on the cross in the mistaken belief that he was actually Jesus. But on this view, the Muslim scholars would maintain that the disciples of Jesus knew the score. They knew, because they were asked for a volunteer. And so they knew that Jesus was taken up into heaven and that someone else was put on the cross instead of Jesus. But then the classical Muslim commentators had to deal with the fact that it is so widely reported among Christians that Jesus was crucified. And they said in response that, well, we can't believe what the Gospels narrate, even though the narrations are now so widespread. It could have started out as a mistaken view by some people who thought they saw Jesus on the cross, and that view came to be attributed to the disciples of Jesus, who otherwise knew what the score was. So that's one approach. The other approach is to look at the Quran very closely and ask, what is the Quran really denying here by denying the crucifixion of Jesus? It seems that Surah 4, verse 157, is not actually denying that Jesus was put on the cross. It's only denying that his enemies had the upper hand on him to the extent of killing him on the cross. Here, crucifixion has the distinctive meaning of killing a person by means of crucifying him, by means of putting him on a cross. So the Quranic statement, مَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ, simply means they did not kill him by some ordinary means, nor did they kill him by the specific means of crucifixion. The classical Muslim scholars wanted to avoid what they noticed to be a sort of repetition here, because if the first term is they did not kill him, and the second term is they did not crucify him, it could not mean they didn't kill him, nor did they kill him by crucifixion, because they did not kill him seems general, it excludes crucifixion or any other means. But the same sort of apparent repetition exists in the Quran in another verse, in Surah 5, verse 33, where the same two terms are juxtaposed, killing and crucifixion. And there it is quite clear that crucifixion means to kill a person by means of this particular method of crucifixion. So there too a sort of repetition would be involved, unless we understand that killing there has the meaning of killing by some ordinary means, and crucifixion obviously it means killing by the particularly gruesome method of crucifixion. So in that case, the Quranic denial, مَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ, simply means they did not kill him by some ordinary means, nor did they kill him by the extraordinary means of crucifixion. Once we take that view, the objection drops automatically, in that it allows for the development of Christian history, It allows for the basic truth of the gospel material in so far as to narrate that people could see Jesus on the cross. But the one distinction we would make is that when people thought they saw him die, he wasn't actually dead, because when you look at a person from the foot of the cross, he appears to be dead, but unless you check his pulse, unless you use certain methods of investigation, you would not be sure that the person is dead. It is very possible, and it seems even likely, that he was taken down from the cross alive.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well, that's all for their show. Please check out our website at www.quranspeaks.com. Please send us your comments, questions, and your donations, because that's how we keep going. From all of us at Let the Quran Speak, we'll see you next time.